And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition here of Maestros of the Game. Maestros of the Game, round of 16, Group B. I'm, of course, host ZvT. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. I mean, no plushies today. True. But welcome. Bienvenidos. Welcome to something a little bit different here. We have been covering Maestros of the Game live when it comes to Group A, C, and D. But over the weekend, Saturday, I was unable to cast Group B. Unfortunately, there was a lot of casting going on. I'd already covered 2 events that day. I was coming in for my 3rd event, but I failed to sleep in between casts. I was trying to. I was trying desperately to sleep. I wasn't able to sleep in between, so by the time Maestros of the Game Group B rocked up, I was so fatigued, and I could have casted, true, but it would have been very low energy. I would have been very fatigued. I wouldn't have been satisfied with the cast, so opted to tap out, opted to go to bed, and I was well rested for the rest of the weekend, for the rest of the casting days, of course, to wrap up the group stage of Maestros of the Game. So now we're here to catch up. We're here to catch up with those matches that we otherwise missed. So as a reminder, this is a replay cast. These matches did happen over the weekend. These matches happened on Saturday. Again, Group A was Friday, Group C was Sunday, Group D Monday. So again, 4 days straight of StarCraft, 4 days of groups, I should say. And this group is going to be featuring 4 amazing players. As we should switch our scenes over and catch up here with our group. We have 4 players. We have Serral, Ryung, Byun, and Zan. We have 2 Terrans, 1 Protoss, and 1 Zerg player to determine or to face off. And we're here to find out, to determine who is going to make it through the groups. Remember, this is a GSL format group. 4 players go in, and only 2 will advance on into the playoffs. Which will be this weekend. And we are going to be live casting the playoffs this weekend as well, of course. So we're going to be all over those playoffs, as we were with most of the group stage and most of the preliminary stage as well. Also, as a reminder, when it comes to the format, these are going to be best of 3s initially, so first 2 series, best of 3s. Then when we get into the winners match, losers match, and decider match, all those final matches are going to be best of 5s. So best of 3s to begin with, then best of 5s to end things off. Oh boy, so we have 5 series in total. Let's go. Let us go. Soon TMC, Pappy C, soon TM, Pappy soon TM. As we have our first series, the vetoes are in, of course, and you can see here we have Gressvan for game 1, Maganath for game 2, and Tokamak for game number 3. Very large maps is my main takeaway from this. We have gotten in both of the biggest maps from the current map pool, which is Maganatha and Tokamak, and then we have one of the largest maps in a previous map pool in Gressvan. If you haven't been watching and keeping up with Maestros of the Game, Maestros of the Game is, of course, a big crowd-funded event that's going to be taking place in France. The finale, the final days of the playoffs are going to be offline in a big venue over in Paris. I think it's in Paris, France. I'm not actually entirely certain as to its location, but it's going to be in France itself. The previous rounds, though, the group stage, the preliminary stage, the first 2 days, I believe, of the playoffs will be online. So we have the online portion into the offline portion. Again, a big shout out to Comeback TV. Big shout out to Comeback TV, the French casters and the French kind of scene for making the event happen, for crowdfunding the event as well. Of course, did get support from the international scene as well, but a massive chunk of that crowdfunding was purely from the French community, which was crazy, by the way. So massive prize pool, a lot of support, of course, as well, and really cool to see that grassroots StarCraft popping off here in more ways than one, not just events in Poland, but now events in France as well. So really cool to see. Stepping into this, right, I was going to mention, hey, if you notice Gressvan, why is Gressvan in the map pool? Well, for this tournament, we do feature I was going to say extended map pool. I should say a custom map pool. It's not extended because we're not adding maps, we're replacing maps. 3 maps have been replaced. Ley Lines alongside Last Fantasy and Torches. So 3 maps have been replaced. Torches and Last Fantasy, those are the 2 most vetoed maps of the map pool, so they got rid of them. And Ley Lines is the oldest map in the map pool, alongside Ultralove, to be fair. Ley Lines and Ultralove have been around for multiple seasons, but they've gotten rid of a Ley Line. So 3 maps were removed, and they've been replaced by 3 other maps. Gressvan alongside Golden Wall and Sandworm. So 3 maps have since replaced them. Golden Wall and Gressvan are from seasons past, from many years ago, and Sandworm is from the most recent TLMC 20 map pool, which didn't quite make the cut to be a part of the ladder, or of the ladder edition kind of map pool. So we do have some different maps. For now, though, we're going to be jumping into game 1 and jumping into Gresvan. Also, as you can see, because it's a replay cast, no player cams. I do apologize. Typically, we do feature player cams here in Maestros of the game, but unfortunately will not be the case for this broadcast. As I mean, like, we could maybe try to make that work if we like spliced in VODs of other casters with like specifically the cam for each player. We're good, Pat. We're good. So unfortunately, no cams here for our players, but it's okay. We can imagine Serral being as stoic as ever and Ryung being a big tuner. Well, we can imagine. It's all good. It's all good. As we will soon be jumping into our first game. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to be jumping in our first game. We're going to be jumping into Gresvan, jumping into our ZvT. And this is going to be an interesting one here. There's a lot to get into. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gresvan, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Ryung. Oh, I should add the logos mod. True. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Finnish Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Serral. Here we go. And if you're in the chat, it is not Gamba time. So we often do not have predictions when it comes to replay casts, so no predictions here. You have to keep the Gamba to yourself as we're getting into our own ZvT. And again, welcome one and all to Gresvan after a very long hiatus. It has been years since this has been a regular map in the tournament map pool. I want to say 2023. Around then, maybe around 2023. So it's been a couple of years, but now we have returned. Now Gresvan is back, and Gresvan was known for longer macro games. It's a very large map of the map pool, a lot of bases, relatively defendable. You can cut the map in half. We have seen many split map scenario on Gresvan, and we might be in for a bit of a longer one, Pappy. I say that CC first. CC first out of Ryung makes sense. This is a very greedy start, but the chances of Serral opening up pool first are very low, and because the map is so large, may as well be as greedy as possible. So we have some greed out of Ryung. On top of that, Ryung is known to dabble in mech. When it comes to these larger maps, speaking of larger maps, every map in this series, if we go the distance, of course, Tokamak, Maganatha, and Gresvan, I do want to lean towards slowing the game down and embracing mech. Not just that, but in general, the meta has been embracing mech that much more. We've seen players like Clem, players like Cure, players like Maru, all embrace mech, not just against Protoss, but against Zerg as well, especially with forms and variations of Battle Mech with Banshee support as well. So that is going to be a viable option here for Ryung. I expect to see mech at some point in this series. Not saying we'll see it every game. I mean, we could, but at least once in the best of 3, I think there's a pretty good chance of that happening. Meanwhile, Serral going for a standard opener. When it comes to these larger maps, you can potentially kind of spread your wings and be a little bit cheeky. If you can confirm that mech is on the way, you can try to go for a Spire, get into Muta play. Otherwise, Serral is more known for safer play, especially in this matchup. We expect to see Roach base openers into Roach Ravager, into Hive Tech, into Ultra Tech. That has been very trendy. That has been very meta over the past couple of months. Ever since DreamHack Dallas, we have seen the rise in popularity of rushing Hive and rushing Ultras. We'll see if Serral feels the need to whip that out against Ryung though. Let's go. Ryung, of course, he's renowned for his TVT. He has arguably the best TVT in the world, but that's not going to be a factor here. Thankfully, there is another Terran player in the group, Bjorn, so I would actually favor Ryung against Bjorn if they do face off. That's only if. Like, there's a chance that they never play. There's definitely a chance that they never actually face off in this group, depending on how things line up. For now, Jesus, third CC. So we go CC first, racks into factory, into a third CC before starport. So again, all about that economy, all about that early setup here out of Ryung, building up into the mid game. Meanwhile, Serral back at home, still droning, still just going hatch gas pool, droning up, doesn't open up gasless or anything like that. He's not really cutting many corners whatsoever. And from here, getting into the mid game as well. Really what we're keeping our eyes open for is the tech of choice from Serral. If he does indeed go into Roaches, if he goes double Eva chamber first, if he goes lair first instead. Again, we're expecting Roach play out of Serral. If he doesn't, I will point it out. We'll take point. We'll take note. Behind this, tech level the ranks into Admiral swap into Banshee play. Whether we go into Cloak or Hyperflight Rotors, yet to be determined. Again, Hyperflight Rotors has been very trendy as of late as well, just because of the micro potential it allows for the Banshees to actually perform. Not just that, but being able to snipe high-tech units, harass across the map, dip in, dip out. There's a lot of micro potential here with something like Hyperflight Rotors. Meanwhile, that's going to be double eBay before the second racks. You know what this screams? 8 racks. So very intense, very greedy here out of Ryung, as again he does prioritize his third base into double eBay as well. This means that 1-1 hits early. Not just that, it means that 2-2 is going to be a very strong timing, and typically we expect the 8 racks to hit with 2-2. So that's kind of what Ryung is building up towards. Meanwhile, no surprise, Roaches. As we mentioned before, Roach play is the go-to for Serral in ZvT. Roaches over the past couple of years have been very meta and have been very trendy and have just been the standard in ZvT, especially after the nerfs to the Bailing, right? After the HP nerf, after the Bailing just being less viable to really embrace in ZvT. Like, Lingbane has fallen by the wayside, and Roaches have been prominent over the past couple of years. As Hellions are poking in. Behind this, extra racks is going to be thrown down. So again, we're expecting this to build up to 3, then 5, then up to 8 racks on 3 bases. Here comes the set of 5, and we're expecting more behind this as well. We're expecting it. We'll see if Ryung takes gases. If he takes his gases at his third base, that will be indicative of further tech of a factory, a second factory, and building up into the mid game and building up into a longer game state with a 4th CC. But if he doesn't take his gases, we're expecting 8 racks, and we're already almost there. We're expecting a 3-base all in. Meanwhile, Serral, he's droning. He's now focusing on his Evo chambers as well. Remember, it was a faster Roach one into Lair, into faster Roach speed. Just really safe play here out of Serral. As we speak, he's spreading creep quite nicely. Hellions are trying to keep up with the creep. They're trying to keep up with the movement of the queens. But overall, Serral, he is keeping up, maintaining himself. And the creep is spreading quite nicely. With a nice crease right here out of Serral. Ryung, we do see him poking in with said Banshees. They were deflected from the main base, so no major damage done yet. And we are up to, I believe, 5. Yeah, we're up to 5 racks so far. We're waiting for another set of 3. Waiting for another set. Serral does scouts. Big scout here from Serral. What did he see? He saw the double eBay. He saw the double eBay already done. He saw it researching, and behind this, we do have a safety Bailing nest. So he should be going Lingbane Roach Ravager. Yes, there is an infestation bit on the way. This is a little bit greedy, but on a larger map, you can get away with this. And bam, there it is. 3 extra racks here hidden at the natural. So again, as soon as you saw the double eBay, we predicted just 8 racks, 3 base all in, and here it is. We have the 8 racks setting up. We don't expect any add-ons on this. Is going to be purely marine tank, and this is going to hit like a truck. As I mentioned before, this is designed to hit with 2-2. Oh boy. And 2-2 has begun. Now, up until this timing, Serral can drone. So he's drawn up to 80. He's drawn up all the way to 80. Solid. I mean, solid so far, right? He's drawn up to 80. Now he's taking up into a hive, and it's all about knowing how and when to drone. If he delayed his droning, then he could stumble his way into this, and Ryung could overwhelm. But he's already finished his droning, which means now Serral can focus purely on army production, and so crucial that he does, not just with the Roach Ravager, but with the Lingbane as well. Not just that, the creep. The creep is crucial. The more creep there is, the more delayed the all-in is going to be from Ryung. And so far, the creep, it's getting halfway across the map. Again, like, despite the Hellions being active, Ryung hasn't really slowed down much of this creep at all. Safety Infestor on the way. Nicely done. We'll have a fungal to work with. As Ryung does pull away. Double Banshee coming in. Double Banshee does dip in. Pulling away. 2-2 is halfway done. It's halfway done, and we're starting to be a little bit more active here. Changing does spot the move out. Ooh, so Ryung is pushing a little bit earlier here, and there's pros and cons, right? The pro is the earlier you hit, the less likely that your opponent's going to be ready for you. But the downside, of course, is that 2-2 will finish up mid-fight, or maybe towards the tail end of the fight. It's going to be close. As Ryung is pushing deep onto creep. Fungal does connect. Yeah, Fungal does graze the army. Lingbane rolling on forward. Can we get on top of the tanks? And it looks like we can. with that. Oh, 1, 2. Do we get all 3? Oh, 3 tanks go down. That's the backbone of the army, and Serral, he will shut this down almost completely. The army keeps on pushing, but that was 3 tanks falling. There's 1 tank left, and again, that is the backbone of the ARAX, is that tank count. So Ryung is bleeding out. He's losing a lot of steam. We have Morling Bane massing up. We're even taking into ultras. Very, very bold here from Serral to invest into tech in the middle of the defense. The Vipers have arrived. He kind of ducked. Well, Blinding Cloud. Why not? So those Blinding Cloud Banelings, they do roll on past. They do engage with the Bio Army. Does force the splits. The spread is pretty nice here from Ryung. Not bad. Does spread nicely. Did lose a tank. Did lose a tank. Serral, he has to back off. He is almost holding onto a fungal. Needs a little bit more time. A little bit more time for that fungal. Ryung is still very much so all in. He's got his 1 tank, and ultras will be the nail in the coffin. Remember, there's no ghost. There's no ghost because there's no gas. There's no tech. Like, there's no intention of the game to go on any longer. Remember, this isn't 8 racks. It isn't 8. It is a 3 base all in. We have 3-3 on the way. 2-2 is now done. Ryung, can he break through? Second tank has arrived. Getting in position, covering the ramp. Serral trying to fan out. Once again, the pre-spread here is pretty good. It's solid. Fungals, they barely touch anything. But here come the Blinding Clouds, covers both tanks. And once again, the tank count is going to be reset. We'll clean up all the tanks, has plenty of Ling Bane left over. This time he will connect with a fire. Oof. And Serral here overwhelms. He just overwhelms the army. And Ryung, he was unable to break into any of the bases. The 4th, the 3rd, the 5th base, none of the bases was touched. Serral, he holds, and Serral is snowballing out of control because here come the ultras. And as we mentioned before, Ryung, he has no follow-up plan. Like, there's no plan B here. There's no 4th CC, he's just now throwing 1 down. There's no extra gases, there's no second factory, there's no Ghost Academy, there's no Ghost production, there's nothing here to help deal with ultras. He's going to be going for a Reactor Liberator. That's maybe the best option he does have available to him for Hive Tech, but even then, it's an uphill battle for Ryung. Serral's maxed. Serral, he's maxed out. And again, there's a reason why we call it an all-in, because, hey, if it fails, it's almost impossible to recover from that. There are ways to do so. For example, if Serral was overconfident, or if he fought with like half his army, if he was out of position, if a drop came in and got into a mineral line and get a bunch of worker kills, like, there's definitely opportunities and chances here to try to deal devastating damage and claw your way back in, but it is so difficult to pull off, and the pressure's on Ryung to make that happen. Staying back and turtling, it's not good enough. But we're going for it. We're turtling up. We're getting a 4th CC. So we can now push in. Three will finish up in time for this fight. True. For Ryung, I mean. Files, they shut down one of the Liberators. Oh, both the Jesus. Both Liberators go down. Ryung pushing onto Reap. He does have a comparable army. True. I mean, size army. Snipes both Vipers. Okay. Ryung. Snipes Vipers as he moves out. Ooh, brutal link counter attack here, as there is not much of him to defend. There's one Marauder. One Marauder to defend. Really so just has to buy time. Doesn't have to engage. He does take down one more Liberator. Barely does get away. That's going to be the entire middle line going down. 17 SCVs, 20 SCV kills. Lings, they also hit the 4th base. And Ryung is being pulled apart here. Unable to defend and attack at the same time. His economy is crippled. That's 30 workers going down. That's 2 mineral lines. That is insane. And I mean, Ryung, he was already all in, but now he has to push. Like, well, what else can he do? He's got to move in, and he's moving into ultras. Okay, they crash on forward. Files once again. They get another Liberator. That's a decent. Well, that's a decent Marauder count. True. It's a lot of Marauders. Gets an expansion. At the same time, we just keep counterattacking. We just keep catching reinforcements. Lings, they do dip in. Ryung rushing forward. Now, if he can get on top of the production, if he can get into the natural base, different story. As Baalze catch another Liberator. A nice spread here by Ryung, but the numbers just aren't out there, and there are no reinforcements. Again, there's no rally, there's no reinforcements. They're getting caught out by Lings. So what you see is what you get. Final tank goes down. Left with a couple of Marines, a couple of Marauders. And again, Serral has been expanding. He has been saturating. GG gets called, and Serral takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Serral. He does take a lead in the series. But again, shout out to Ryung, because that 8-racks hit quite hard, and even though Serral did everything correctly, like, there was definitely some moments there where Ryung was able to take some better fights. I can definitely see Ryung killing a lesser player. When I say a lesser player, I mean any other Zerg. Like, put Raynor in that position, put Solar or Shin in that position. I can see Ryung breaking them, but again, he's up against the best Zerg player in the world. He's up against a world champion, so you have to bring your best, and at times even more than that, to bring him down. So in the end, wasn't quite able to break Serral. Did make him sweat for sure, and I was very impressed with Ryung's ability to get his 4th base and to actually max out. But again, the soup does lie. Sure, he was maxed, but the quality of the composition does matter here, which is why we were emphasizing how he was up against Hive Tech, but he had no academy, he had no ghosts, he had no extra gases, he had no extra factories. Like, his army composition was very limited in what it could be. And in the end, GG. In the end, GG well played. He was outscaled, and now we're getting into game number 2. Oh. Done. Beautiful. We're jumping into game 2. Game 2 is going to be on Maganatha. Game 2. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Maganatha, we have the Finnish Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is Serral. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Vitality, it is Ryung. Getting into game number 2, and game 1 we did have the attempted A-racks out of Ryung. Now, if you recall, at the start of the series I did mention how I expected mech at some point out of Ryung, so now I lean towards mech here as we load into Maganatha. I don't really see Ryung going for an A-racks 2 games in a row. I feel like that would be unwise to do so, we'll see if he does end up getting another double eBay setup, or if he goes for a faster factory. Well, I say faster factory, a faster second factory. Horizon on Ryung. From the side of Serral, we expect more of the same. We expect a hatch gas pool into a 3rd base, into roaches, into roach lair, into delayed double evo chamber, into roach ravager, into Lingbane roach ravager if need be. Like, that's kind of what we're expecting out of Serral. He's often one that reacts, and often one that plays pretty standard. If he throws down like a Spire, or if he doesn't play roaches, we'll point it out. Like, he's crazy. And we'll get into it. Of course, welcome on all to Maganatha. Maganatha is the largest map in the current map pool. Likewise has a lot of bases, but they are very spread out. They're very spread out here, and it can be difficult to defend your bases. But if you are playing like a mech style, if you're focusing purely on defense, then it is very possible to secure yourself on 2, 3, 4, and then 5 bases, max out, and then start being active on the map here. As Reaper does move out. There have been some quirkier builds out there as well, where you can, of course, go into BC production, BC into mech, High Flight Rotor Banshee into double Starport Banshee. Gumiho-esque play. No, the Ryung and Gumiho, they are good friends. True. So you want to learn from his builds, though. That I'm not so sure about. As Link Speed is on the way, Serral pulls out of gas. 30 TC out of Ryung. Everything looking normal so far. far so good. There's that 1-1-1 follow-up. We're expecting we're expecting Tech Lab into add-on swap for the Starport into Banshee play again. So far, the build is looking very similar to last game. I say very similar because last game, Ryung did go CC first. This time he did not. So there is a slight deviation so far as Ryung is less greedy coming into game 2. See, this is where he throws down 2 more eBays and we're like, well, I guess he's A-Raxing again. I guess. No. Zero Lord is tempted to poke in. Serral doesn't see much yet. Checks the gases. There's a Marine on patrol. Zero Lord attempts to poke in once again. But the Marine is in position. So behind is just freely droning. Queens are keeping up with the Hellions. Overlord Scout is denied. And no, okay. So we do go for the add-on swap into Banshee play. We have the Tech Lab being built on the racks. It looks like we're going into buy it. Meanwhile, safety Roachhorn. So once again, just like last game, safety Roachhorn, Roachhorn into Lair, then followed by double Evo chambers into double upgrades. This is the same build 2 games in a row out of Serral. Same build. Meanwhile, Ryung is going into a bio follow-up. But as you can see here, unlike the previous game, he's not rushing into double eBay, so this is not indicative of an A-Rax. Also not indicative of mech either. True. So no mech here out of Ryung. Is playing bio, but more standard play. Okay. Playing standard, playing straight up. Ryung. This does mean that Serral may skip his Baneliness this time. I'm uncertain if his Baneliness was a response to his Overseer Scout, which will still be on the way. So he may just cut Ling Bane and just go straight Roach Ravager into Ultra, which, as I mentioned before, has been very trendy as of late, and has been very difficult to deal with. Evo chambers are being thrown down. But now we're just saturating. We do have some Hellions here applying some pressure. 6 Hellions on the map. Just the 6. And we can see here we are going into melee, not range upgrades, and we are not skipping the Baneliness. Okay, so Roaches initially to be safe, then into Ling Bane. So some standard play here. We do still have the Infestation Pit, so that should be for Hive Tech. Once again, just like last game, the end goal should be to go towards Ultras. Should be the end goal. But this time, Ryung, he will have a better path lead. Oh, hello. He's A-Raxing 2 games in a row. I was gonna say he's gonna have a better path leading him in towards Ghost Tech to deal with the Ultras. He's still going for the A-Rax 3 base all in out of Ryung, but he's going there in a different way. So this time the 2-2 timing is not going to be anywhere near as crisp because 1-1 was delayed. So delayed 1-1 into delayed 2-2. Maybe the goal here is to catch his opponent off guard as a result. But yeah. All roads lead to 8 racks. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. Ryung, he's playing like it's like 3 months ago. Crazy. There was a period in time a couple of months ago where we had non-stop A-Raxes in ZvT. It only lasted around a month, but it was there. It was there. It was GSL Season 2. It was GSL Season 2 into DreamHack Dallas. Was the non-stop A-Raxes. pre-EWC. And the reason why it died down is that players got better at shutting it down. When it came to opening Roach, when it came to heading into Ultras. Shout out to Shin for pioneering all of that. And here we go. Here we go. And again, you can see the difference in the timings. This move out last game, remember, 2-2 was more than halfway done. Here, it's not even halfway done. So you can see the difference here in terms of upgrade timing. And the changing does spot the move outs. Serral is fully aware. And with that, he will collapse in. Slowing this down. Tanks are pushing forward. Again, the tanks are the backbone of this army. Serral building up even more Ling Bane. We'll have more Banelings in production. And during this event, this time he peels off some Lings to catch reinforcements and to counterattack. Oh. As Ryung, he is gaining ground. There's a nice spread. Lings, they do catch reinforcements. They peel off in towards the 3rd CC. And again, you can see Serral trying to lure the army closer to his army. Lure him in. While they connect, they get a tank and a medevac. Nice pickoffs. Meanwhile, the entire middle line goes out. Ay, ay, ay. And Ryung, he's running out of steam. He's running out of steam, running out of reinforcements. This army is on its own, which means Serral can get ready for a surround. He's coming in from behind, coming in from 3 angles. Left, right, and from the south. Vipers, they've arrived as well. They pop up with their blinding clouds. Banelings rolling forward. And Serral, he will clean up. Very impressive here. Shuts down every single tank. Now we have the wave of reinforcements, but now there is 0 tanks left. The medevacs are out of energy. Now 2-2 kicks in, but it's not really much left. And Serral didn't lose the base. He didn't lose the expansion, didn't lose many workers at all. He saw 80 or 79 drones. And now, what do we see? Ultras. Ultra production's on the way. We spoke about this last game, but Ryung, he doesn't have the setup to deal with Ultras, even less so this time, as he has no saturation. He's on a 2-base economy. Ryung, he rotates towards the top side. Serral going for another counterattack. It does hit the middle line. There's not many SCVs to kill, but yeah, whatever you can get. It's fine. As even the Marines are going to go down. Not the most efficient trades here from Serral, but he can afford it. Serral can afford it. GG gets called, and Serral, he will take the series 2-0, taking down Ryung and advancing on to the winners match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. ARAX is in such a way, in such a fashion, this series have fallen out of favor. They've fallen out of fashion just because, as you mentioned before, this was very trendy earlier this year. Earlier this year, we saw nothing but ARAXs in ZvT, and then it died off. Then it died off as Zerg players adapted to the meta and just started playing more safely. They just started playing more safely, playing with more Roach-based openers, and of course, taking up into Hive, prioritizing that tech to rush into Hive, to rush into Ultras. Long gone are the day of Hydra Ling Bane or Ling Bane Hydra. No, it's all about the Roach Ravager Ling Bane into Ultra Tech instead. Not just Ultra Tech, but of course the Vipers were a big part of that defense as well, both in game 1 and game 2. On the side of Ryung, he did have 2 different variations of 8 racks, and they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. The of course first one did hit a stronger 2-2 timing in game 1. Here in game 2, instead of a stronger 2-2 timing, we did have actually more units to work with, so a slightly larger army. I did notice that. I think it was larger by, I want to say 20 supply. It was like a 20 supply larger army than game 1, which is also why it gained more ground, but it's also why Serral recognized that he just counterattack. He'd just counterattack, avoid the main fight for a little bit longer, and just strike the 3rd base, strike the reinforcements. GG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations, Serral. He does advance on to the next round, and we are here to determine who will face off against both Serral and Ryung in their respective matches. Here we go. Here we go. Up next is going to be a Terran versus Protoss matchup. Up next is going to be a TVP between Bjorn and Zaun. Oh boy. The first series was a little bit more cut and dry just because it was just non-stop all-ins out of Ryung and Serral responding to that. But here, this is most likely going to be a longer series. Bjorn versus Zaun is going to be an interesting one. Bjorn is known for his mid to late game in TVP. Bjorn is the most macro-oriented Terran player in the world right now. He is the player least likely to go for all-ins compared to Clem, compared to Maru, compared to Cure, compared to Bunny. All those other players are more prone to going for 2-base all-ins and 3-base all-ins and playing mech as well. Bjorn, he typically avoids that. I don't want to say he always does, like it's still in him to go for an all-in, to go for a 2-base all-in, to pull the boys, but less likely compared to the others. And also, Bjorn has not been one to embrace mech against Protoss. He does play mech against Zerg, but against Protoss, he has not adapted to that as quickly and as much as the other Terrans out there.